it's not just totally fabulous. This is the Wave Crest necklace, which I designed exclusively for Jewelry TV for Jewel School. And I just absolutely love it. You know, the pendant itself is a Cellini spiral. And what's unique about it is instead of just making the Cellini spiral all rotate in one direction, we're going to do half of the pendant and then we're going to reverse the direction of the Cellini spiral, which is what allows it to come to a point in the center. So that's a really cool new technique for people who maybe have already done Cellinis before but don't know how to reverse that direction. This gives you all sorts of new design options to work with your Cellini. I used quite a few colors of seed beads in this, so it is a very substantial pendant, but because it's only a pendant instead of, say, an entire necklace or an entire bracelet, you can get away with that large size a lot more easily because it just makes a nice focal piece. The rest of the necklace is just strung. I decided that I was going to keep all the seed bead weaving in the pendant. The rest of it is using seed beads that are in the pendant. And instead of just doing a simple single strand necklace, which I tried at first, it looked pretty anemic because you had this large pendant and then this really anemic single strand of seed beads. I did a 6-strand necklace. You know, it's a lot of stringing, but look at what it does for this pendant. It sets it off so beautifully. And so I'm really pleased with this particular project, and you're going to see me wearing this on the YouTube videos quite a lot, and probably in person if you see me at a show or teaching somewhere, because this has really instantly become one of my favorite projects. So let's take a closer look at the pendant here on my board. This is the color, the other alternate colorway of the pendant that of the kits that we sold on Jewel School. And what we did here is, it's easiest to see when it's kind of sitting like this. Here's where it comes to a point, and then the directionality is reversed. And so it's got a nice big size center hole there for you to get all of your 6 strands through. And then it's, you know, the same thing here on this side. So here's how we're going to actually make this particular pendant. I've laid out all of my beads in the order that they're alphabetized. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is actually a different bead, just FYI. Don't let that confuse you. I just thought I'd see what this all looked like if I threw a blue in there. I'm just kind of curious. So once you get them in order, you don't have to pay attention to it after that. So if you want to, you can always lay them out horizontally on your board. So you've got the A through F or whatever it is along here. I tend to work in columns, so I did this. So I'm going to come down and up and then down and up again. So that's how this is going to work. I added a stopper bead to the end of my thread here, left myself about a 6-inch tail below it so that I can weave that back in later. In the length of my fire line, I probably pulled off about 1.5 yards of fire line. You can certainly use a smaller amount of fire line if working with this much thread gives you tangles. It's not worth it. Then use a smaller amount of fire line and you can just add thread later, okay? Then the other thing that you'll notice that I've done is I've already put the first round of beads on this thread. And so what I did here is I picked up 2 of each one of these colors. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So that got me to here. And then I reversed directions. So then coming out of those fire polish, then I went back to the size 6s. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I did not duplicate the A bead, okay? So see here how it ends with this kind of pale peach. Here is where I started with that raspberry color, okay? So that's what you want to do, is pick up 2 of each of these for your initial round. Then we're going to turn this into a circle. So we're going to go from the tail end back through all of these beads again. And obviously you're going to have to do it in more than one pass to get through here. So as we go through in sections here, like so. All through here. And then you're going to want to move one bead past your tail. So just one, not one color, but just a single bead. That means that you're going to be coming out right in the middle of your A beads. So it's, it's a size, your color A that you're coming out right in the middle of, okay? At this point, your stopper bead doesn't need to hold those beads on anymore. I would suggest going ahead and taking that off simply because you don't want to accidentally bead it into your project. And so go ahead and get that taken off. Okay, so getting our first round of the first couple rounds of this done is going to be your biggest challenge. If you can find a dowel of some size, of some kind that will fit on the inside here, that would work. This is fairly large. I frequently will use like a knitting needle for the center here for a dowel. I didn't have one that was large enough, but you know what I did at home, and I forgot to bring the whole set, is I used multiple knitting needles to kind of fill in the center there to give me something a little bit to hold on to as I was doing these first rounds. So that might work for you. Just use, 3 or 4 knitting needles, enough to fill in the hole so it gives you a little more control. So what you're going to do here is the color that you're coming out of is going to be the next color that you pick up. So I am, you know what, and actually I lied here. You're not going to come out in between those two. You actually want to come out that last one. There we go. So now I'm coming out of the second of the A beads. But because I'm coming out of an A bead, I'm picking up an A bead. It's going to sit on top of the next B, and I'm passing through the second B, okay? Now, because I'm picking up a B, because I'm coming out of a B, I'm picking up a B. I'm skipping one for it to sit on top of, and I'm passing through the next one, which are my C beads. Because I'm coming out of that C, I'm picking up a C, I'm skipping a bead for it to sit on top of, and I'm passing through the next one, which happens to be a D. Okay, we're just going to keep doing this all the way around. The bead that you're coming out of is the next color that you're picking up. Here I'm coming out of the size 8, so I'm picking up an 8, skipping the next bead and passing through the next. I'm not going to worry about the fact that I've got a bunch of thread showing here as I get up into these larger beads. Doesn't matter, we don't care. Picking up a size 6, skipping a fire polish, going through the next fire polish. Okay, then I'm coming out of a fire polish, so I'm picking up a fire polish, and now we're going back down in size, okay? We're just kind of letting these all sit as sticky outies along this outside edge as we go along. And it'll be on the next round when we start making them all go vertical on us, or for us, I suppose. Coming out of an 8, so I'm picking up an 8. Get that tail out of the way. Okay, coming out of a blue, so I'm picking up a blue. And that's the big trick, is once you get this pattern established, that's your mantra over and over again. You're going to get yourself confused, but the bead that you're coming out of is the next bead that you're picking up. Here I am with my last bead on this round, because you see that I'm about to head into one of these sticky outies right here. So I'm picking up the bead, I'm skipping one for it to sit on top of, I'm passing through the next one, but here's my step up. So I'm also going to have to pass through the next sticky outie bead. So when you get to that A bead, that's going to be where your step up is every time. That's why we only have one of those in every row. Everything else, you're going to pick up that color 2 different times, both coming and going. But your A, you're going to remember that because you're only going to have one of those, okay? So now we have to kind of start encouraging this to work upward instead of going flat and because we don't want a flat piece. We want it to be a tubular piece. So I'm coming out of an A, so I'm picking up an A, and now I'm going to go through the sticky outy on the next color. And as I do this, notice how as I'm tightening, I'm going to start tightening in because I want to start making this sit vertically instead of flat. So I'm coming out of a B, so I'm picking up a B, and I'm passing through the next sticky outy, tightening up. So I'm coming out of a C, I'm picking up a C, passing through the D, sticky outy. Okay. So you definitely need to make sure that you are tightening this inward and encouraging it to sit up. Because if you continue to add these beads and just let it sit out flat, you're not going to end up with a tube. So this is the most important round right here. Is now see how this is already starting to sit up instead of, and then on this side it's all flat. And I'm simply doing that by tension, by making sure I'm pulling this nice and tight and pulling it inward. Okay, like so. Here's our silver. Now we're going to go back down in the colors. Okay, like so. You kind of notice how I'm kind of using my thumb here to kind of create a little bit of a, I don't know, a wall for it to sit against. Since I don't have a dowel, I'm kind of using my thumb as the dowel. And we're almost to the end of this round. Blue. Of these gorgeous raspberries. Okay, and then this is going to be my last bead of this round. This is where my step up is going to be, through those A's. So I'm going into the lower A and passing up through the top A, like so. And now, here we go. Now it's all in a tube. You are going to keep doing this over and over again until you have used half of your fire polish beads. So count out how many fire polish you have. You're going to use half of them. Keep going around until you've got those half completed. And then when we come back, I'm going to show you how to reverse it. And I'll also talk you through adding the necklace, okay? I just love working with a Cellini spiral. It is so much fun watching it grow and morph and change. I want to take you close to the beads here because I want to show you a couple things. So here's my little piece that I've been working on. Something I wanted to mention to you is as you're tightening this in and adding row after row, you want the size 6s and the 8s and everything, you want to kind of force them to kind of sit in on the inside of this center section, because the fire polish is going to be your highest point, and that's where the ridge is. And so when you start adding these in and you're going down in size, it can be kind of hard to find a space for that to sit because they kind of want to sit up like this. Encourage them to sit inside, okay? Because that will make this beautiful ridge action right here as you're going along. So we're going to pretend that I have done half of my fire polish and that I'm ready to reverse direction. So what I did is I finished an entire round of beads. Here was the last bead that I added, was a B bead, and then I did a step up through my 2 A's. So you want to finish with your step up. Then here's how we're going to turn around. You're going to go through the down bead, which is going to be a B bead, straight in front of where you did the step up. Okay. Now we're going to turn around. So we're going to go through the bead that's sitting right next to it, in the opposite direction so that the thread can sit right between those two. We're going to, let's see here, if we go down to this one and this way. So actually, what we're going to do instead, we need it to go just actually one bead deeper. So we're actually going to then go also through the first sticky outie of the B. Now we're going to turn around and go through the one right next to it in the opposite direction. We're going to pass through the B bead that's straight ahead. And then we're going to pass through the sticky outie A. Now we are coming out of a sticky outie along that top edge. It's the A. Now we're ready to continue, and we're just going in the opposite direction. Everything else, all the other rules are exactly the same. Because I'm coming out of an A, I'm picking up an A. Passing through the sticky outie straight ahead. Coming out of a B, so I'm picking up a B, passing through the C straight ahead, the sticky outie. And you can see where this is creating this little V, and now this will start spiraling the other direction. That's literally all there is to it, is just changing the directionality, so working your thread so you're coming out of the sticky outie A in the opposite direction, and then going in the opposite direction as you go around your spiral. Everything else is the same. And when you're done with all of that, you get this fabulous piece. What you're going to want to do is just end off your thread when you get to the end. And so you've got this pendant, and then the question is, well, how are you going to turn this into the necklace? And the answer is very simply. What I did is I found this fabulous clasp that is called a D-ring clasp. And so it's got these 2 D-rings. There's 3 holes. We're going to add 2 strands to each one of these holes. That's how we're going to end up with 6 strands. And this can look a little confusing because you're like, wait, how does all this go together? How does the little toggle bar work? This is what you do. And let me unclasp this necklace. You're going to attach the toggle bar to one of these Ds, doesn't matter which one, using 2 jump rings. That's all there is to it. That's why you've got the clasp and the jump rings in the same baggie in your kit, is you're just going to attach those to a single one of them. The reason for 2 of them is to give it enough room to come up through the hole, because you need to be able to get it this far up so that you can then swivel that bar like so. And that's why you need 2 of the jump rings instead of just a single. And then here you can see where I've got 2 of each of these strands attached to each of the the holes in this 3-strand clasp. The strands themselves, it's just a very simple repeat. All I did was take a size 8 and then 5 of one of the colors. It's actually a matching color to your size 8, and then a size 8, and then 5 11s and an 8 and 5 11s, and I just strung it to the length that I desired and attach on the other end. I do suggest that you attach each one of these on both sides as you go along, so that it doesn't get all mixed up if you're trying to attach all of them at the same time, which is what I did, and it was a big mess, and that's why I suggest you don't do that. To get the strands, before you attach it on the other side, you want to go ahead and get it attached onto inside your pendant here. And so in your kit, you had a big eye needle, and that's what you're going to use to get your strand through the center of this. Because while you can see through here, and for your first strand or 2, you can probably just poke it through. But what happens is as you get more and more strands, there's less hole there to poke it through. So the big eye needle, I forgot to bring one today, but it's 2 pieces of stainless steel it's attached on the top and it's attached on the bottom. And so the center will bow out. So you just have to take that center and open it up, and it bows out, and you can just tuck the strand of your soft flex through there, and then take the needle, and because it's long enough, you can just poke the needle through the end, pull the rest out, and then you can attach it on the other end. If you need a primer on how to do your stringing and your attachments here at the tip, I have another video that is all about stringing, and I will pop a link up for that video. So that's just as easy as this project is. You know, just that one little pendant, and then the thing that takes a long time actually is stringing all 6 strands of the soft flex with all those seed beads, but it's so worth it in the end. And it's a completely gorgeous piece that I think you're going to wear a lot, because like I said, I know I'm going to wear it a lot too. I hope you enjoyed your video, and I hope you enjoyed your kit. There's plenty more of them at jillwisemandesigns.com. Make sure you check out all the videos that I've got on my YouTube channel. I've got lots of projects for you, and I love it when we can sit around and bead together. Happy beading!